A lot of y'all don't understand. You're not even the one they love. You're just where they dump what they hate about themselves. You're their emotional basement. I just want you to understand the situation. They don't bring their joy to you. I never did. They bring their mess, their guilt, their grief, their leftover chaos from every fight they don't fix. And you just sit there quiet thinking that you're mature. But I want you to understand that ain't never been maturity. You're containment. You're not the person they share life with. You're just where they go when life gets too loud. You're where they hide themselves because you don't challenge them. I just want you to understand the situation. Because if someone only comes to you when they're in pieces, you're not their piece. You're their disposal system. Every time they fall apart, you swallow your pain to stabilize theirs. Is that even equality? Is that even equity in the situation? Every time they blame the world, you turned into a therapist they didn't pay. You called it love, but really you just didn't want to lose them. You became safe for their self-abandonment. You translated disrespect into trauma responses. You watched yourself disappear, and guess what you called it? Empathy. You say you were there for them. I just want you to understand. They didn't even feel bad for using you. They felt entitled to you. You trained them that your silence was normal, that self-erasure was love, that your needs were optional and their breakdowns were sacred. You let them ride out your emotional foundation because you thought if you held them long enough that they heal and finally turn around and hold you on. I'm just being for real. I'm just being for real right now. They won't. Not even because they're evil, but because they've never had to. You make their guilt feel safe. You make their chaos feel held. And now that's what they think you are. That's who they think you are. You're not peaceful. You're just used to not being heard. You're not mature for holding up the weight of someone else's healing. You were just trained not to flinch. You're not strong. You just got good at shrinking at rooms they called you safe. I just want you to understand. I just want you to understand what's going on, because when you finally speak up after all this exhaustion, after all this pain, when you finally cry, well, guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen when you say I matter too? They're going to panic. They're going to panic. Not because they didn't know, but because they'll finally lose their emotional storage space. Because you weren't the partner, you were the container, and now that container's leaking. So they didn't choose you for who you are. You were selected for what you wouldn't do. You wouldn't challenge. You wouldn't speak. You wouldn't leave. And now you're not even just quiet. You're watching. You're watching how quickly people who loved your calm call you difficult the moment you speak with clarity. That's what you're watching for now. You watching how fast their confusion turns into guilt trips. How fast their pain returns when your peace is no longer available to rinse. I just want to say what it is. But you were the container, but now the lid's off. And they don't know what to do with themselves now that you're not absorbing that on demand. They don't know. They don't know. So you're no longer letting them. I want you to understand this because I'm saying it for you. You're no longer letting, I've just gone through a lot. I've just been going through a lot. Be a valid reason for your erasure. You're no longer called